to see what Elliot Jackson is up to. He is truly the most diverse, skilled man in the bike industry. He can do everything. Always follow his analytics on Pink Bike. The guy knows what's up. All right, we're 15 minutes into this thing. Crankworx Connect. You're starting to figure out what it's about. Maybe you've completely forgotten what it's about. Well, luckily, our friends from the Pivot team, Ed Masters and Matt Walker, are here to catch you up on exactly what the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series is all about. Always a pleasure to have the Kiwis on board with the Ed and Matt Show.
Good evening. My name's Ed Masters.
And I'm Matt Walker.
Now you might remember us from previous Crankworx as racers, but today we are the face of the wide world of sports, and we're going to take you on a journey as to how we became the presenters of this exclusive show.
So back in March, we were ready to go racing, just like usual. But a series of events unfolded and that meant that couldn't happen anymore. So
Things went a little pear-shaped. Now you might be wondering what all this is about, but to get to the end of the story you've got to start at the start. And this one begins with an unexpected guest called COVID-19.
with the threat of a global pandemic, our job as mountain bikers was a bit up in the air.
So we went back to the drawing board and we tried our hand at a few new jobs. So it was pretty scary to start with, a bit like stepping into the unknown, but we grabbed the bull by the horns and we ran with it.
I tried being an electrician.
I started out as a lumberjack. And then I was a builder.
I tried being a mechanic. So after a bit of trial and error,
we found our feet as educational journalismists. It's our job to inform you, the viewer, about the hottest new race series to hit this summer.
the Crankworx Summer Series.
Now what is the Crankworx Summer Series? Take it away, Matt.
The Crankworx Summer Series is based in Canada. We've got 24 of the best athletes in the world
Racing across 4 different bike parks.
with an all-in format.
And what's an all-in format?
Well,
The 24 BC-based world-class athletes will be duking it out across 4 different disciplines to crown one champion.
so who could be a champion of a series like this?
We've got riders like Bas van Steenbergen,
Casey Brown,
Miranda Miller,
Jesse Malamed.
and for the first time ever, slopestyle legend Brett Reeder will be lining up against downhill great racer Vin Isles.
So you might ask, what 4 events these guys are competing in to take the overall?
So first up we have downhill. Downhill's fast-paced, it's adrenaline-packed, it's the F1 of mountain biking. Racers will be taking themselves hurtling down hills, and the key is to get from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill faster than all your other competitors. Next on the agenda we have dual slalom.
So dual slalom is head-to-head gated racing on short, man-made courses. It's really intense.
Timing, precision, everything is key, and it's also a bit of a head game. It's all about staying composed, and tactics also come into play.
So from the dual slalom, we have enduro.
Now I think this one's going to be interesting. Enduro is the long form of mountain biking, multiple races during the race, and it's going to be super interesting to see riders like Jesse Malamed, who's a top 10 EWS guy, pegged up against Crankworx legend and bike wizard Bas van Steenbergen, and I think people are going to be very surprised. And rounding out this quartet of mountain bike events, we've got the EDH.
So with the EDH, it's generally held on bike parks, flow tracks, jump tracks, where the riders keep it as low as possible over the obstacles, just to put down the fastest time possible from top to bottom. It takes a lot of skill, a lot of bike handling, and the fastest rider normally comes out on top. Well, seeing as this is our first episode and we're not too good at it yet, we're not sure how to end this episode actually. So,
For a special surprise for our viewers, we're going to leave you with a stunt. From the Team Worldwide Wide World of Sports. I'm Ed Masters. And I'm Matt Walker. Good night. Night.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. Hey Kip, for joining us here. We'll get back to you in a little bit. It is Thursday and it is Crankworx, so that can only mean one thing. It's Throwback Thursday. We're going to take a trip back in time all the way to 2014 to check out the EWS monster that became known as Crankzilla. And then once again, we're checking in with GT Pro rider Phil Metz on Skills with Phil. It's Throwback Thursday here on Crankworx Connect, and I'm here with EWS Wildman Whistler local Jesse Melamed. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
So we want to catch up. We want to find out what's been going on with Jesse. You've been riding a ton. Obviously, things a little bit different in the world lately. What's been going on with you? You getting some saddle time on your bike?
Yeah, definitely things have been wrapping up. We were pretty lucky here in BC that we had a pretty easy time of it. Definitely took time off the bike though once the race season was canceled, but now it's been nice to kind of get back into the rhythm of riding, and summer's finally arrived because we've had a lot of rain here, but it's hot, it's warm, and the trails are running really good.
Awesome. Well, it's hard to talk about summer enduro and Whistler without talking about the Crankworx Enduro World Series stop. And there's been many iterations of it over the years, but we've got some footage of the one that everyone still talks about 6 years later, Crankzilla in 2014. Jesse, this was your rookie year on the EWS, and people are still saying this is one of the hardest Enduro World Series races ever. What was your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just kind of ahead of its time. Like, it was super technical, super long, it was super hot, and it just kind of had everything you wanted, but they just tried to pack in so much that it was quite a bit. So I really enjoyed it, and I love that kind of struggle and that perseverance of the long days, so I enjoyed it. But it really set the tone, and I feel like since then we've had really hard EWS days, but this one just stands above the rest.
So what are some of the things, this sort of Whistler, unique to Whistler things that made that race so special, and I guess for some riders so difficult?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the style of trails we have. You can kind of ride them really fast, which means that you're able to ride really aggressively. Like, when you go to big European, big long stages in Europe, you can kind of get into cruise control a little bit and kind of flow with it, because there's just extended sections where nothing's really going on for the most part. And Whistler is just, top of the world to ride, don't slide or something. It's just 17 minutes of hammering, and the trails are built well. They're supported, so you can kind of just go really fast. And I feel like that's what we have, is supported features and corners where you can really carry your speed. And so if you're not doing that, you're not going fast enough. So it's the fact that you're allowed to go really fast on all the trails. And yeah, it's just a lot of things. And then you got a huge crowd that's really amping you on. So you just really want to show your best.
So that huge crowd, for you, probably more than a lot of other riders, a huge factor in the game. Fast forward 3 years to 2017, a hometown win and your first win on the Enduro World Series. Take us through what that was like for you. I mean, what an experience.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I hope I can achieve something like that again, but just all of that coming together, I think was super special. I had a pretty close run in. Actually, in 2013, my first one in Whistler, I was 6th in pro, and that kind of really started everything off for me. And then in 2016, I was 2nd to Richie, which I was really stoked about because Richie is just a legend. But this race, like, winning it was obviously, winning is everything. So winning that race was huge, and in front of my friends and family was amazing. And all the people really that I grew up in Whistler with, yourself included. There's so many people that I just crossed paths with, and Whistler is a place that keeps people around. And, people I've known for my entire childhood were there cheering me on, and that's something that's really special.
Those trails inside out, the seasons. Obviously, we're not riding here a ton in the winter time, so really 3 seasons to pick from. If you had to pick, which is your favorite season of riding in Whistler?
All time, fall time. There's something about it. Everyone who lives in Whistler kind of is still sticking around that time. The tourism season's kind of died down. The vibe is just really cool. The dirt's amazing from kind of off and on rain. All the alpine trails have opened. Pretty much all the trails have opened by that point, because sometimes, like this year in particular, we had a really good snow season. So Load of the Squirrels, for instance, is one of our most popular alpine trails, and that's still closed because of snow. So those are all open, so you can kind of ride wherever you want. Everyone's just having a good time, and it's kind of just calm a bit. Everyone's come down from a big season, so especially for me, like I usually get time to ride after my big race season, and it's just, you know, stress free, pressure's off, and just riding for the fun of it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Jesse. I'm hoping I'll get a chance to chase you around the local trails this fall when things are prime time and the race season is wrapped up. Huge thank you from the Crankworx family to you for joining us, and good luck in the Crankworx Summer Series out there. We got your back.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, let's talk about a technique where we can temporarily increase our traction to change directions. Let's head to the top and see what this looks like. This technique is different from the normal turning technique because we can only use it to make quick changes on the trail. It's similar to pumping where you need to drop down low and drive through our legs to push us in the direction we want to go. We can only use this temporarily to increase our weight and generate traction to our tires. So I hope you guys find this tip helpful and helps you have more fun out on the trails this summer. As always, my name is Phil Metz. Thanks for playing bikes with me today, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right, thanks, Phil. It's always good to catch up and see what Phil's up to. You know, he's got those skills. Put those skills to work. Maybe you'll find yourself on the podium at your local race series, even racing Crankworx one day. So we're moving forward. We've got a big day of competition ahead. It is the SilverStar Dual Slalom coming up, and I'm happy to say that all 4 of my fantasy picks have made it into the ladder, the round of 16. And there's one of these matchups that's really standing out to me. It's a sea to sky matchup. Whistler moved to Squamish versus Pemberton. That's Jesse Melamed versus Lucas Cruz. Jesse, the Enduro World Series guy. Lucas Cruz coming from a Ninja BMX background, now focusing full-time on mountain bikes. Cannot wait to see that go down. Remy Gauvin, Bas van Steenbergen, and the young gun dark horse Jacob Jewett also in the mix in the top 16. And then Casey and Baya both right in there. Those are your top 2 qualifiers. Anything could happen. Hearing rumors around the pits that Finn Isles claiming now after the Enduro win that it's only going to get easier for him to win these events. Maybe going to be looking for a 4-peat at SilverStar. We'll see. Finn Isles definitely has the chops to get it done. We are going to bring back in our fan of the week, my guest host, Jacob Tuke. Jacob, so we're rolling into SilverStar Dual Slalom. You're on the ground at SilverStar. Have you seen the track?
I have seen the track, and I heard Bas van Steenbergen's put a lot of work into it, so I think it'll be a track that maybe suits his needs a bit more, but we'll see. It'll be super interesting.
How much advantage do you think there is or could be from actually designing and building the track yourself when you're also racing on it?
Ooh, it's tough. I think that's a tricky one because you could kind of shoot yourself in the own foot and like get a little bit confident, but I think seeing Bas and knowing his experience with dual slalom as a discipline, I think he's probably got a very interesting course set up for the day.
Okay, Jacob, I'm going to put you on the spot. We're going to bet a cookie on the outcome of this dual slalom. Who do you like for the win, dual slalom at SilverStar Resort?
Ooh, if we're having a bet, I think I'm going to go for the underdogs here. I think in the men, I'm going to put my cookie down on Elliot Jameson. I think we haven't really mentioned him yet in this show, but I think after knowing him and riding with him for many years, he's definitely in for it. I'll probably say Lucy Schick in the women. Go for another Norco rider, underdog as well.
All right, well, Jacob's betting with the heart. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take Lucas Cruz from the Sea to Sky on the men's side. And I'm looking at Georgia Astle because I know that she makes delicious cookies at the lift here in Whistler. All right, our fan of the week, I got to thank you so much for joining us, Jacob. It's been a pleasure having you here, and looking forward to having you back on the show again tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Derek. It's been a pleasure.
All right, guys. So Jacob Tuke, big thanks, fan of the week. once again, you got to stay connected to the edge, to the absolute, up to the minute of what's going on. At Crankworx is the handle across all the social platforms. Hashtagging Crankworx from home. You are at home. We are at home. I'm actually lucky enough to be here at the beautiful Fairmont Chateau Whistler in my hometown. Our production team is in Quebec. Elliot and Cam are down in Oregon and California, respectively. And the athletes and Crankworx team are on the ground in SilverStar. It is insane. It's crazy what we're doing, but we had to do it. We had to get it done because you, me, and all the athletes have been craving Crankworx back in their lives, and we have it now. Crankworx Connect is done for the day. We're going racing. Cam, McCall, Elliot, Jackson, can't wait to see what happens in the dual slalom, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow for Crankworx Connect.
It's time to step up and to be the fastest from the start to the finish.
When I ride well, I hit the marks, all of them.
Trying to make a run for the overall for sure. Try to be consistent everywhere. That's the biggest lesson. Don't give up.
Race fans, rejoice! Is this real life? Could this possibly be true? Crankworx mountain bike racing in the summer of 2020. Pinch me, people. It is on. Welcome to the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. Stop number 1 kicking off at SilverStar Resort near Vernon, British Columbia. Cam McCall, I'll be your host for this 3-week series, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by professional downhill racer and number cruncher extraordinaire, Elliot Jackson. Elliot, how good does it feel to see racing on your screen?
Oh my God, I feel the same way. This is probably the first time in the last 10 years that I haven't been traveling, all year long, but to see Crankworx put this together, last minute, how well it looks, and I'm just so excited to see what these athletes can do.
It's ridiculous. I know this came together last minute, but big ups to the Crankworx crew for putting this all together, going by the guidelines to be COVID kosher, getting temperature checks for all the racers and all the staff on site there at Vernon, British Columbia. Where is SilverStar Resort? Where is Vernon, British Columbia? Let's zoom all the way out to outer space and proceed to zoom right in to the west coast of Canada. A great place to be out at. Plenty of lift access mountain bike parks, SilverStar being one of those favorites, and a great place to kick off this series. What is this series? Well, there's 25 invited racers between the men and the women category, 25 overall BC residents. They're going to be competing in 4 different disciplines: enduro, dual slalom, air downhill, and downhill at the 3 stops. Of course, SilverStar kicking off right now, and then it'll be Kicking Horse next week and Sun Peaks in Kamloops the following week. But right now it's all about dual slalom, but this is not the first race at this venue and not the first race of the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. There have already been some points divvied out to those racers, and that was from the SilverStar Enduro race. We did not have a broadcast for that, so let's take this opportunity to check out a highlight recap from the SilverStar Enduro.
feels good to get the enduro done. It was a pretty decent sized day for, I don't know, getting back into racing after being off for so long.
Yeah, results aside today, it was just unbelievably fun to get back into riding, like racing, and being on the clock and racing other people. There's been a bit of a hole in my life, and I think I've sort of filled that today.
You know what, Finn? And of course, race fans felt like there was a hole missing, but we're filling it now with some racing action here. That man right there, we just heard from Finn Isles, took the win for the men's category in the enduro. Casey Brown took the win for the women. Take a look at this list of accomplishments for this young racer, Elliot.
Yeah, it's so impressive. I've been watching him over the past, 5-6 years, and he can do anything. Wins A-line race, just right up there in the World Cups. Yeah, this series is kind of made for him.
Well, there's the first time we get a chance to look at our brackets here. We've had qualification already, and this is what it looks like when they hit the course. What are some of the matchups that really stand out for you there, Elliot?
Well, to me, one of the things that's really interesting is coming from enduro, it's so shaken up. A lot of the typical enduro guys like Remy Govan and Jesse Melamed didn't do as well as we would have liked, but then here's Jesse Melamed behind Bass, somebody that we think of as a slalom specialist.
So yeah, qualifying very interesting. Bass van Steenbergen took top honors in the qualification. He helped design this course, and he's a slalom specialist, so that's no big surprise there. Finn Isles only a quarter of a second back in second place in the qualifications, then Jesse Melamed in third. But you know what's interesting is we're not on site. I'm in Bend, Oregon. Elliot, you're in California, so we have not had an opportunity to walk this dual slalom course. So let's take this chance to take a peek at our Stance course preview with Trevor Burke and Bass van Steenbergen.
Hey guys, Trev here for your Stance course preview at the SilverStar Dual Slalom. Today I'll be taking you on course with Bass van Steenbergen, local guy, course builder. Let's see how I match up.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Alright, so we're rolling into the first triple. That's a pretty tech move.
Alright, racing Bass van Steenbergen right now. Rhythm section, Bass doubling everything.
Long rhythm section into some dirt flat corners. Well, these are getting a little blown out. Then into the grass turns. These will be pretty key for the race.
Lots of loose, bumpy grass. One more turn to finish. If I can finish that close to Bass, which I won't, I'll be stoked. No bumps.
Yeah.
I like the looks of that, Elliot. What do you make of that course?
Yeah, I was actually cracking up just how calm Bass seems. He helped design the course, and I think it shows in all the little tight, really technical turns he put in there. I think it'll be a really good race and be super interesting.
I agree. I mean, you can tell that that was a Bass van Steenbergen designed course right there. The type of course that requires a whole lot of quick direction change and rhythm. But what do you say we get into racing here? Heat number 1. We've got Reese Werner going up against the man himself. Started. Let's listen in. They're off, Elliot.
It's just the gate start. Bass has been, he actually was trying to train for a BMX Supercross, so you can see those gate starts really pushing into that turn there, and just trying to hold speed here.
Gosh, he's looking fast. Bass with the early lead here. Bass van Steenbergen through the line first. The question is how much? 0.68 will be the differential that Reese Werner will have to make up once we get them back to the top of the course and we switch sides. In the second run, if you're behind, beat the person in the second run who beat you in the first run by more than they beat you by, and that's how you make it out of the current round into the next round in this instant elimination format. We've got our next heat loaded up in the gate at the top of the course now. Kirk McDowell going up against Woolley. Casper Woolley, the youngster out of Squamish with so many KOMs. This will be interesting to see how he fares.
61 KOMs.
That's absurd.
Too good.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
One of the things that I'm interested in here is this turn. So you can see that inside lane, they're wanting to kind of oversteer. And I think as the riders get more and more comfortable, they'll try to come out of there more straight, because it's really about coming out of that turn and how much exit speed you have.
Yeah, well, very tight matchup here between Woolley and McDowell. A small differential, just 0.19 in favor of McDowell. I hear you on that, Elliot. Come out of that left-hand corner into the rhythm section. You're not going to be able to squeeze pedals, and you want to have enough speed. You want to have the right lineup to be able to double through those.
0 to 100 pretty quick on that one.
All right, next heat up in the gate. Remy Gauvin on the left side of your screen going up against Fabian Cusini on the right. Let's see what we got here. The last matchup was super close. It seems like these courses are pretty even as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's always nice. Really good mentally when you're riding a slalom track and the course is even, because you don't feel like you're behind.
Kind of gauge your performance off of how close you are.
Totally.
Cusini out to an early lead, it looks like.
Fabian's actually really good on the small back. He used to race World Cups back in the day and has just been kind of an all-around guy for a while now. Remy right there, known as being an enduro guy.
Who do we got next here? All right. Trevor Burke going up against Seth Sherlock. Now Seth Sherlock, a youngster, so making great results last season. He's gonna have to get by Trevor Burke.
Yeah, and Seth is intense on Aaron Gwynn and Nico Malali's team, so I'm sure, I know they had team camp, so I wonder if Aaron gave him some tips. The interesting thing about the rhythm section, you see some people trying to manual and roll those first ones to gain speed, but I feel like there's probably a fastest line through there, like either doubling or full manualing one of them or something. I think as the night progresses, we'll see that.
That'll be fun. You got to watch this and see what manifests as the fastest way through that rhythm section. Well, the fastest rider through the course, it looks like it was Trevor Burke by 1.27. I was distracted by that FPV drone angle we had. That was pretty incredible. All right, so advantage going to Burke there, and we get a look at our brackets right here. This is where we're going to get into the swing of things, understanding how this works. Van Steenbergen had the advantage, and his name's lit up in white, so I'm assuming that's how this is going to work here. We'll get them back up to the top, but we still have 4 more heats to go in this round of 16 for the men. Let's see who else can light up their names in white. So it looks like, okay, that was Seth with the advantage. That's what I thought there. So we just had that fixed there. It was Seth Sherlock with that 1.27 advantage. Is that Remy there, Elliot? Oh, it's Jesse. So not a guy we typically see racing dual slalom. We caught up with Jesse Melamed about that. Take a listen.
I would say SilverStar Dual Slalom because Bass built the track for it. But I just like watch those races a lot, and I think it's so cool, the aggression and the speed that discipline has, and I just want to try to get that. I don't know what it's like to be right next to someone, so that's going to be super interesting, and Gatestar has never done it, so that'll be a learning curve. I'm looking forward to trying it.
Well, we're looking forward to watching you do it, Jesse Melamed, because you qualified in 3rd place, only a quarter of a second behind the course designer builder Bass Van Steenbergen. And this will be his very first time going up against somebody in an actual race here in slalom.
The BMX riders, they're just so comfortable in the gate that they are more comfortable with their feet on the pedals. We were laughing at Team Rocky gate start.
Yes, look at it. He just had to unclip too. So Jesse Melamed on the right side of your screen there, getting used to this gate start. They do not have that in enduro, it turns out. But once he's on course, I mean, he was third place qualifier, so this is going to be good.
Yeah, obviously it didn't slow him down any.
Oh, good. We still have the drone. Yeah. This is too cool, man. Oh, wait. Tight racing out of these two. Who is it going to be, Elliot? Oh. Lucas Cruz with a pretty healthy advantage there. Let's look at our scoring graphic to see what that differential was.
So I didn't pedal at all.
Oh, that's the worst. When you just lose to somebody and they're talking to you about how they didn't pedal at all. Wait, real nice, Lucas. Exactly. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I had a flat.
All right, what's it gonna be?
Also, my handlebars weren't on.
Wasn't paying attention. All right, back up to the top. Our next matchup is loaded in the gate here. We've got Mark Wallace going up against Henry Fitzgerald. And if you think about Mark Wallace, who typically races the World Cup season, hops into a Crankworx event every now and again, this is a very, very different schedule here, 3 back-to-back weeks. So we caught up with him about that topic, and he had this to say.
Good job.
I think the biggest hurdle for the Summer Series is just going to be just trying to be consistent throughout the 3 weeks and the 12 races. Like 12 races is a lot, and to pack that into 3 weeks, it's gonna be taxing. Like, I mean, a week at Crankworx is hard normally, and now we're doing 3 weeks back to back. Like, I do 12 races in a year normally. So, yeah.
So I think, Elliot, throughout the next 3 weeks, we're going to be talking a lot about pacing, strategy, stuff like that. Right now, we're talking about Mark Wallace on the left side of your screen going up against Henry Fitzgerald. Let's see, Mark Wallace qualified 6th place. Fitzgerald qualified in 11th, so let's see who takes this one.
Yeah, it's super interesting thinking about these like, it's just so many races packed into one. And these guys, you know, Mark Wallace as well, like, you don't normally see him on maybe his bike, but a downhill bike, but it's awesome to see, like, you just see him roosting that turn, getting wild. Just good bike riders.
Mark looks to have the advantage. There you go. Mark Wallace crossing the finish line first, but wow, they were tight.
What for me to do?
I have to say.
I just locked the brake, tried to get around it, but yeah, my back tire one like the wiggly ones. Yeah.
Oh man, anytime you put an athlete and a competitive person in the gate, they're just gonna go for it. I feel like everyone here has just so much competitive energy built up, and they're just trying to just make sure that they do all that training justice.
So Mark Wallace with the advantage over Henry Fitzgerald right there, as we send our flying little robot camera back up to the top of the course to get a peek at who will be occupying the gate here for our next heat in the round of 16 for the men out in beautiful SilverStar Resort. Who do we got here, Elliot?
Man, so McKay Vesna, I've known this guy since he was like 10 years old. You know, it's actually really funny because we would normally know everyone by their kit, but both these riders are on new kits this year. Elliot Jameson on a new team. And McKay also just no slalom experience, but is used to being on this bike coming from enduro.
So let's see how he fares there.
Took a different line there with double, single return.
Okay, leading the charge here for somebody without very much dual slalom experience. He sure seems to be adapting pretty quick. All right, McKay Vesna through the line ahead of Elliot Jameson by 0.73.
I skipped a gear out of the gate. I'm like,
I love this banter at the bottom of the course.
Air 5. Yeah, man.
I wonder, I think we should count how many times, like, somebody says, like, I just had the best run ever. And I bet it'll be, like, 0.
Yeah, exactly. You know what's cool, though, is it would obviously be amazing to have this entire course lined with screaming fans and vuvuzelas, gorgonzolas, the whole 9 yards. But with it being so quiet, we really get an opportunity to hear what the racers are saying to each other in the gate and in the finish line crowd. So let's try to take advantage of that. Uh-oh, look who we have in the gate. Elliott Jackson, Finn Isles, the man to beat right now. He took the win in the SilverStar Enduro. Who is he going up against? Oh, this is going to be good. I remember this guy. Look at that, man. Jacob Jewett, Elliott.
Man, this
Tell me a little bit about Jacob.
He, you know, last year at Crankworx Whistler, it was impressive to see him on the pump track. I rode that track, and it was more technical than any pump track I'd ever ridden. Had a lot of turns, had even some braking in it. So for him to not only have the skill, but to be able to execute on that is just crazy.
And that is not a typo. Age 17, he blew minds in the pump track last year in Whistler, the final stop of that 2019 Crankworx World Tour. And we were looking forward to seeing him on the World Cup Tour, on the Crankworx World Tour. It's great to have him here for the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. But he's going up against the second qualifier and the man who won the Enduro, Finn Isles. This should be a good one.
Yeah, this should be good. Jacob with a really good gate.
Jacob on the hardtail.
Yeah, right. You can kind of see, like, I'm interested to see how the flat turns go for the hardtail, because normally you would ride a full suspension to get a little more traction, but looks like he's going back to time.
So Finn Isles through the finish line first, Jacob Jewett 0.91 behind. That's a definite interesting bike choice for dual slalom racing here. This course has a lot of flat turns on it, so the hardtail is obviously going to come in handy in certain parts of the course, but Finn Isles using that suspension to his advantage.
I saw your front wheel. I was like, he's coming into me.
You can see what they're talking about. When Jacob jumped into the turn before the rhythm section, he almost went over the berm. You could see him, like, Finn was talking about his front wheel, like, coming into his...
All right, so we'll get them back up to the top of the course. We'll give that advantage to Finn Isles, and of course, we'll re-rack everybody, switch sides, and cut the field in half. I believe that's all of our 8 heats. There it is for our round of 16 for the men. Van Steenbergen getting the advantage over Werner, Isles getting the advantage over Jewett. Could we possibly have a collision course here between our number 1 and 2 qualifiers? Time will tell here at the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. Halfway through our round of 16 for the men. Do not go away, more racing to come.
Discover the best trails in the world. Trailforks. Download the app today.
welcome back to the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. Of course, a big thanks to all the sponsors making this possible. Of course, CLIF Bar for keeping everybody not hungry out there. Send it, whip it, and keep on with CLIF Bar. Maxis, tread victoriously, and of course, the local BC brand helping make this all possible. Designed in British Columbia, that's Norco. So Elliot, we've seen half of round of 16 right now. We're gonna send them back up to the top. This is delivering, to say the least.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've noticed in the first round is there's been a lot of mistakes. Every time you see somebody coming into those flat turns, I was talking about the difference between seeing someone ahead of you, even though you might not be behind on time. You really want to push, like you want to go as fast as you can. So you're seeing a lot of mistakes in those flat turns, and then really trying to get those first couple of sections down. So I'm interested to see what it looks like when they switch lanes.
For sure, it's so easy to get too antsy in dual slalom, and this course in particular, it's just so action-packed. It's kind of non-stop. You're doing something physical. There's no breaks, no flat. And I think that'll really make for some interesting racing for us. And especially now that we've kind of seen everybody take one run, we kind of know what we're up against here. We've got everybody back to the top, switch sides. We're gonna kick things off again where we left off. So Bas van Steenbergen on the left side of your screen, he has the advantage over Werner. He's gotta hold on, stay consistent right now, not take too many risks if he wants to make it into the round of 8.
Yeah, these times yesterday, Reese only beat Bass by 1.2 the whole enduro, so they've got some already coming together at Crankford.
And it turns out Bass, he really likes to win. He doesn't like coming behind somebody by even a half a second. What do you say, it was a second and a half? So Bas van Steenbergen making a statement right here on the course he designed and helped to build. And he will be moving into the round of 8, sending Reese Werner to the showers. He'll be focusing on downhill.
I was so nervous, like into the left. I was like,
on the tight one. Right. Dude, it's getting pretty rough. I'm surprised. Yeah.
I was hoping to hear Bass make a comment complaining about the course or something. That would have been classic since he designed it. But no complaints out of anybody, seemingly. But geez, let's talk about Bass not even
rhythm section. Every time
holding it safe there. He still had a 2-second advantage in that second run where he already came into it with an advantage. So he's looking good to defend that first place qualification time. That's always a bit daunting, isn't it, when you qualify first?
Yeah, it's all yours to lose, you know. And I think a lot of the time, sometimes people peak in qualifying, so you have your best run, and then you kind of where do you go from there? So a lot of the times, you might see people qualify well, but some people perform their best until, you know, semifinals or finals where you actually have something on the line.
Everybody has that friend who peaked in high school too, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's all downhill from there. All right, what do we have? McDowell and Fitzgerald?
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Yeah, so this is, we see that case there coming into the turn. Also talking about it getting rough faster, just blowing out that turn here. I think you see the water getting put down on the track, and you're used to. Oh my god!
oh. Good?
So eventful in the final straightaway there. What did you see, Elliot?
Yeah. Sounded gnarly in that.
I was wondering if, yeah, I mean, he sounds cool as a cucumber. I would have been like losing my mind.
So on the edge of control out here. It's really interesting to see. I mean, these two riders in particular, both choosing to ride the 29er trail bike on dual slalom, and it seems like the right choice, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I feel like, you know, you really only have, you have that tight switchback up at the start, and then the one berm turn, and then it's all flat turns from there. He burped his tire in that berm, and then was still going for it.
Yeah,
that
he
was
burped
crazy.
Huge in that left-hander.
I saw you like make that
had...
mistake, and then I just like cruised in, and I was like, wait, like I don't even know. I didn't know.
I'm surprised he had air for the rest of the run, but so much aggression out here attacking this course. And it really does seem like those 29ers are the right call. This course is like a micro little, I mean, it's a trail section. It's not like your typical slalom course that's suited for a hardtail or a short travel bike. This is full on aggressive.
Let's see, waiting for the good gate start. Ooh, Remy pulling a manual out of the turn. Cool. Wow. They just
So
look like
Fabian
they're
Cusini
skiing
had
like...
the advantage in the first run. Oh,
That's
and
so
look at this, Govan
impressive.
crossing the finish line ahead here, so we're going to crunch numbers. Look at that. So Govan coming from behind, despite having that differential against him, will knock out Fabian Cusini.
That will be tight.
That's what's up it right there. It's keeping your head on straight, even though you have the differential against you, have that disadvantage, and still just riding your own race. So that was really impressive out there from Remy Govan, knocking out Fabian Cusini.
Man, I love...
So Govan into the round of 8. Let's see who we have next.
One thing that I think is really cool to focus on is how the riders, now that the little ruts and stuff like that are getting pushed out, you'll see people move their bike in a different spot. Like, yeah, his first year, junior, and he's on intense this year, and so I think he'll be one to watch. He did really well in the last stage of the enduro. So coming into pump track should be good.
Yeah, I mean, we got those two youngsters that we have to keep our eyes on as possible underdog dark horses. Seth Sherlock is absolutely one of them. Jacob Jewett the other, both from the Sea to Sky area. Squamish locals right now. Sherlock on the right side of your screen going up against Trevor Burke.
Okay, riders, random start.
We got the youngster versus the weathered veteran here. Oh, Trevor Burke almost losing it. If I remember correctly, Seth Sherlock had the advantage from run number 1. He crosses the finish line first, which means he will move into the round of 8.
Because his grass hand's real good for a bit. Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, I just started cruising at the bottom there. Yeah, good. Yeah, no point of. Yeah, I told you not to.
Cracks me up.
No point in getting there at the bottom. That was good, man.
You.
Yeah, nice racing you did. It was fun.
We always talk about mountain bikers being, you know, very, like, having so much camaraderie and having good attitudes, but there's still that racer in them that's like, oh yeah, no worries, I was just cruising.
Oh man, see, we usually don't get to hear that. I'm not saying there's any mind games going on. It's just typical, like, hey, we just finished a run, this is what happened. But it is fun to be able to hear what's being said. Either calling out their mistakes, or like I like that one right there. Like, oh yeah, at the bottom I wasn't even trying. He crossed the finish line. So good. So Trevor Burke will look forward to downhill. He is now eliminated as Seth Sherlock secures himself a spot in the round of 8 here at the SilverStar Dual Slalom. They're dropping like flies here. We cut the field in half every round. Who do we have next? Jesse Melamed. For those Maxxis downhill tires. Yeah, really interesting to look at all the bike choices. It seems like a ton choosing to ride the trail bikes they were racing enduro on. Jacob Jewett, one of the few out there on a hardtail, maybe even the only one on a hardtail. But Jesse Melamed, it's really fun to watch him trying his hand at dual slalom, qualifying 3rd place.
I really hope that everyone does more slalom and pump track come the once we get back to the normal Crankworx series, because once they get a taste of it, I think they'll be right there. We had a round in Leger a couple years ago where everyone did it, all the top World Cup racers and stuff like that. So I love it when we get the crossover from disciplines.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. This could be the gateway to get some of those competitors over the edge to try out some other stuff. It might really shake up our king and queen of Crankworx standings once we finally get back into the World Tour.
Yeah. Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready.
All right, Lucas Cruz going up against Jesse Melamed. To make up here, he's back by 1.5, the full max differential behind Lucas Cruz. Melamed through the line first.
Loose.
That was not 1.5, it was only 0.12.
That was loose. You were on it. I thought I would have had you on that one. I like rhythm section, nose case, and then like bottom back wheel came down like at the perfect spot, so it actually like boosted me. Dude, I did the manual and like coming out of that corner a bit late, so I was like sideways and pulling. Yeah. The inside, like the red turn, that one's nothing there now. I know. Or like same with this right-hander, I was like, oh, that's blown out. Worse. Oh man, I'm kind of supposed to.
All right, Elliot, you talked about that earlier, the fact that as we kind of work our way through these rounds, the course is going to change so much. You heard them bantering about just that.
Yeah, for sure. Like even, the person that came after Casper after he blew out the turn had a totally different track than they were used to the last run. So you kind of, it's also about reading the track and knowing how the track's going to change. Is a rut going to be there? Is a berm blown out now? It's definitely some strategy going on.
Where did that rut go? I love that rut. Why is it not here anymore?
It's my favorite.
So back up to the start here, Mark Wallace and Henry Fitzgerald. Mark Wallace has the advantage. It is a 0.45, so definitely manageable here for Henry Fitzgerald. Do or die, who will secure themselves a spot into the round of 8?
And these guys too, all of these guys have been racing each other for so long, so being next to even though they might not race slalom all the time, they're still comfortable next to each other.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Henry with the start here.
That was really good by Mark out of that inside turn.
So
see a lot of people blowing that out, and he really rounded it out, got it super fast. But Henry!
Oh, come on! Wow! Fitzgerald coming from behind.
It's close, yeah.
Oh,
wow.
That's
sketchy up at the top.
It's gonna be close, yeah. here. Wait to see. Wow, Mark Wallace, I mean, he had the lead the majority of the race, but Ms. Fitzgerald kind of came out of nowhere. Having the inside on that final straight definitely comes in handy.
How was other than that?
So there you have it.
My corners are good, probably better than I've done before.
Mark Wallace, his performance in run number 1 pays off.
Those first 3, hey? Like, after that little
No, it's like, I hit the berm weird, I think.
Oh, really?
Or maybe it's probably because the first 3 set me up weird in the berm.
Like
and then
the right,
left
you got
berm.
the left before the rhythm weird?
Yeah.
Right into that one.
Kind of both. But like the main fact was the left into the rhythm. Like too wide.
Oh yeah, okay.
All right, so I'm looking at our official results here. Mark Wallace, he was able to hold on with that nice .45 that he had coming out of run number 1. It wasn't enough there. Henry Fitzgerald will be out of the race for today. Mark Wallace moving into the round of 8.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
All right, heat number 7 in the gate. Elliot Jameson going up against McKay Vesna. Vesna with a little bit of work to do. He's back by .73. So Elliot Jameson looking for a smooth, consistent run here.
I was saying, the Elliots, you know, like there's Elliot Heath, there's Elliot Jameson. When I was racing, I feel like, you know, the Elliots might be the fastest name. Is that a thing?
Those of you race fans out there who are procreating, if you want to breed a mountain bike racer, maybe name them Elliot. How many L's though? That's the big decision.
Oh, wow.
Oh!
I'm just a race fan.
I think it's funny we have the Stans logo right next to that biggest G-force on the course. There's probably going to be quite a bit of fluid donated to the outside of that berm. Oh!
I think I blew one, man. I think so.
Oh, did you see what I just did? Oh. You okay?
Yeah, I almost
Did you hear me blow my tire off?
I almost died.
Everybody's donating sealant in that left-hand berm.
Oh. Did you see that? Oh, that hurt so bad.
Chest to stem.
No, I like hit my tire and burped it in the berm top, and then blew my hand off right there. Oh. Well,
A lot can happen in 45 seconds.
That was good times.
Right. I love it. It's like everyone's like a small child when they come across the line. They're like, did you see me? Did you see it?
Dad, did you see that? It's crazy. They've got these stories to tell. It takes longer than 45 seconds to tell the story of something that literally only occurred in the span of 45 seconds.
Oh, that's so true. I think one of the reasons we're seeing everyone burp their tire there is because that turn is so important. So mentally you think, I want to not brake into it so I can get the most speed coming out. But the riders who are hitting it really good are probably hitting the brakes probably like a little bit more coming in so they can carry more exit speed and not, you know, lose traction.
Such a good point, especially as we stare up in the gate and we have some young guns who may not have that veteran foresight. These are two who just attack, so I can't wait to see them hit that left-hand berm there. Finn Isles on the right side of your screens. Jacob Jewett on the left. Oh man! Oh, no way. Okay, a lot happened there in about a second and a half.
Quick right here.
Look at Finn's bike. His tire's all the way off the rim, I think. So we got great medical staff here out at SilverStar Resort. They're going to take a peek at Jacob Jewett. Well, tough break there for the youngster Jacob Jewett, going down hard in the rollers. Luckily, we got a great medical staff out there at SilverStar Resort. They were able to scoop him up and treat his injuries. Looks like something to the left arm or wrist area. We'll update you when we hear more about that. But Finn Isles will move on into the next round of competition here at the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. Right in the middle of dual slalom action, we're going to get caught up with the women's category after the break. Don't go away.
Discover the best trails in the world. Trailforks. Download the app today.
Unlike our bikes, culture cannot be engineered. It grows from within. Pivot Cycles is a company founded on a commitment to building only the world's best performing mountain bikes. But Pivot Cycles is a company thriving because of deeply committed people who have come together in a way best described as, well, a family.
Here we go, back in action here at CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. Of course, we got to thank all our sponsors. ODI, the world leader in grip technology. Stan's No Tube. Stan's brought tubeless to the world, and they're bringing it to the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. And Giant Live, Ride Unleashed with Giant. So let's check out where we are in the competition right now. We've made it through the round of 16 for the men's category, and now we're going to catch up with the women. I believe we're having round of 6 is where we're going to catch up with them. So riders like Casey Brown, Via Verbeek, Miranda Miller, Georgia Astle coming off of big time exciting race in the enduro. So it's going to be cool to see them switch gears just as we've seen the men do into dual slalom racing right here. Who do you have your money on for the women in dual slalom?
I feel like it's hard to bet against Via, that's for sure. She's been training super hard.
Via Verbeek, of course, the 2019 reigning queen of Crankworx, and somebody who knows a little bit about all the competitors in the field here. We're lucky enough to have a third member of our team joining us right now. Rachel Straight, can you hear us? Hey, there she is.
I can hear you guys. How are y'all?
We're good. Sorry you have to listen to us. We're glad you can hear us, but we're sorry you have to listen to us. How jealous are you that they're out racing? Would you just love to be out there, Rachel?
Yeah, it's actually really making me miss racing right now. So it's cool to see it happening, and I'm so excited for everyone to be out there racing today, especially the women. So yeah, excited for the competition.
Where are you joining us from right now?
I'm actually at my dad's house up in Big Bear, California. So I decided to head into the mountains and beat the heat down in San Diego. So yeah, enjoying it up here.
Good stuff. So did you see the results from the women's enduro that already took place?
I did. Casey absolutely did amazing. She dominated, and Vaya was not far behind. And then Miranda Miller coming in third place. Awesome to see. So really excited for the racing that's about to happen.
Well, good. The stage is set. Luckily, with the way this format works, is we're going to see all of them who made the podium in enduro right here in dual slalom. So let's see if we have any racers up in the gate. Let's cut to that camera view. There we have it. Look at this with the bark busters and all. Miranda Miller, you see that right there, numero uno on her ODI number plate. And I would venture to say she's choosing to ride her enduro bike for this dual slalom, as we saw a lot of the men competitors do. Let me boot up the results sheet here and see who she will be going up against.
I think that's Leonie Picton. And was Miranda switching bikes with her teammate?
Riders ready?
Yeah, that's right. That'll be interesting to see. Here we go, heat number 1 of the women's round of 6 underway.
The track's going to be much different from what they rode in practice. Probably had it nice and watered. All the dudes in the round of 15 have blown it out, especially these flat turns.
So Miranda Miller ahead here in the final straightaway. She will cross the finish line first ahead of Picton. The big question, by how much? Looks like 1.29 separating Miller and Picton. And yeah, tell me more about the whole sharing of the bike situation, Elliot. That's super interesting. I can't wait to see that transpire.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know she's sharing her bike, so I feel like. And who is her teammate? I know she said that when I was talking to her, but who is she sharing?
I believe it's Reese Werner who her teammate is.
Yeah, that should be good because. It's funny in my notes for Reese I have full XC. He made the switch to enduro, so I feel like both of them like being Squamish, being C, like maybe they've switched bike before. I wonder if they practice.
Town bicycle. All right, so next heat in the gate we got Georgia Astle and ALN. Now we had the opportunity to throw a camera in ALN's face and catch up with her about this unique racing format for the next 3 weeks. Let's hear what she had to say.
I don't know if many of us have actually done like 12 races like this in 3 weeks. So it's going to be interesting. I think recovery is going to be the long game for sure. So yeah, I think it will be interesting to see where people are coming strong and then getting tired. And I think everyone's aware of that because we're all experienced racers. So yeah, I think we're going to have lots of surprises.
Yeah, there's already been surprises in the men's category. It's going to be a long 3 weeks of racing, but one step at a time. And the step ALN has in front of her right now is to get past Georgia Astle in this first round of competition here in the dual slalom. Look at this, we got some doubling in the mix here. Rachel, it's becoming harder and harder these days to tell if you're just looking at a course, if you're watching men or women come down. Of course, talk to me a little bit about the progression in the women's field 2020.
I don't know how
I would definitely say adding dual slalom into the Crankworx World Tour has definitely pushed the progression of the women's side of it. Because in the past there was really only Sea Otter, and then maybe if you had it in your country's national champs for dual slalom. So it's really awesome to see the women progressing.
I mean, of course the Crankworx World Tour was cut short this year, but even speed and style we were seeing a women's category, which is pretty rad to see. You look at a lot of other sports, and you know, the women are up on such a high level of competition, even when you compare them to the men. And I feel like we're entering that era in mountain biking now.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's so exciting to see. I can't wait to see the girls that are 14 years old doing T-bogs and no footers in the next, 4 years, where they're going to be.
Especially just the size of jumps you see women able to tackle these days. One rider in particular who, rides out in the terrain where Rampage is held, and no stranger to the the biggest jumps during the whip-off competitions on the Crankworx World Tour. That's Casey Brown. She won the Enduro earlier on out in SilverStar, and now she's going up against Lucy Schick in their first heat here in the SilverStar Dual Slalom.
Yeah, and Lucy actually was the 2019 U21 EWS champion. So pretty cool to see her like branching out from the Enduro scene and going into the dual slalom scene.
Rachel, do you think she's competed in very many dual slalom races before this one?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say no.
So it's always exciting to see how those skills from different disciplines can cross over. What number does Casey Brown have on her ODI number plate there? We're going to have to take a look. A little frustration out of somebody. I can hear the audio. So Casey Brown with a huge lead. Barring any missed gates, she's going to have a pretty huge advantage going into their second run. So Casey Brown, you got to imagine that's going to be a 1.5. It is.
Oh shoot, sorry.
So Casey Brown at the maximum differential of 1.5 over Lucy Schick. Man, at this rate, Casey's going to be racking up the points if she can keep so consistent. She's got all the points from the Enduro win, which is 100. She's just looking to add to that here in dual slalom. So Vaya qualifying first. Vaya gets the baya. We won't see her because she moves right into the next round.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see Vaya and Casey. Really, those three front runners from the Enduro. But we saw Georgia; she was riding really well. It's really shaken up. I feel like it's the same as the men's, where just because you did well in the Enduro doesn't mean you're going to do well in slalom.
Just because your tire held on in that high G-force left berm in run number 1 doesn't mean it's going to hold on in run number 2. Anything can happen. So that does it for the run number 1 of round of 8 for the women's category, which means we pick up with our men right now as they enter into their first run of the round of 8, and we're going to get to see some new matchups here. First of which will actually be Bas van Steenbergen, the number 1 qualifier, going up against Kirk McDowell. Next up will be Govan versus Seth Sherlock. And Lucas Cruz versus Mark Wallace. And then Finn Isles going up against
McKay. And I think it's
Vesna, I believe.
Yeah, these two, Bass and Kirk, like they spend a ton of time together. Kirk has a place up in Whistler, and Bass spends a ton of time up there riding together. They are really good friends, so I'm interested to see if there's a little bit of mind games going on.
Friends except for race day. Let's call it that.
Right.
All right, Bas van Steenbergen wearing red, Kirk McDowell in the gray. This is their first run in their round of 8, so even playing field here. McDowell with the lead, it looks like, or is that Bass? I have it wrong, don't I?
I think that's Bass.
Yeah, Bass is in the gray, look at that. Ridiculous. Okay, but it's going to be tight. McDowell with that inside line there on that final straightaway. The differential for that's it's a 0.4. So Rachel, you're hanging out at Big Bear. I'm hoping you're going to be able to do some fun races out there. If you were here at SilverStar and able to compete at this event, which would be the discipline you'd be most looking forward to?
I don't know. I think it'd be a tie between enduro and dual slalom. Both are extremely different, but very exciting events.
I know your husband probably is sitting back there somewhere campaigning, dual slalom, because I don't think anybody enjoys dual slalom as much as your husband.
No, he truly loves that event. He's actually up in Reno right now hanging out with his buddy Cam Zink, so they're working on a little project that'll be coming out soon, so that's exciting.
Ooh, I heard about that. I'll be watching that. All right, who we have next up in the gate here? Remy Govan going up against Seth Sherlock. So Seth Sherlock, the youngster, going up against the enduro specialist, Remy Govan.
Okay, riders, ready to start. Riders, ready?
Everyone on the 29 or?
That is the calf of a mountain biker right there. Dirty, hairy, strong. 3 words that should never be put together. Okay, Govan on fire right now, hitting all of his marks. As Seth Sherlock does his best to keep up to that back tire. But he's got that inside line here in the final straightaway. Who's going to cross the finish line first? It's going to be close. Sherlock through the line first. What will that advantage be? Oh.
Oh. Nice, dude.
When you're on
It
that
seems
right
like
side, you just gotta
the
keep
lower corners on the black side are running a bit faster than on the red side right now. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but
Yeah, it's definitely true, right? What is it, the right line? Is that the it's funny because I was just about to say that Remy is looking so smooth, and then he made some mistakes right at the end there.
yeah, I wonder if one side is running a bit faster or not. It seems like it.
Next heat in the gate here, we've got Lucas Cruz on the right side of your screen going up against Mark Wallace.
Yep. Okay, riders, ready to start. Riders, ready? Watch the gate.
Ooh, Marky Mark. He hit the first turn so well. You can see when, like, I was about to say, when people don't break traction, it's kind of, they really nailed it. So Mark break a little bit of traction.
Mark is like, seriously that rider, isn't he? Who's like so efficient that sometimes he's got like that Eric Carter effect, where sometimes you don't think he's going fast, and then you look at the time and you're like, oh no, he's just so efficient. He's not wasting any energy anywhere, and he makes it look easy. Oh, there we go. We get a peek at who this next matchup will be here. Facing off against each other is McKay Vesna and Finn Isles. Finn Isles, of course, the man with the most points right now, coming off that win in the Enduro. So a little bit of a David and Goliath thing going here, as Finn has kind of come out swinging, showing he's the man to beat in this all-around format. It's all about dual slalom right now. Who do you think you got your money on here, Elliot?
Man, it's hard to bet against Finn. We were just listening in a second ago, and they were talking about food. So it doesn't sound like they're too nervous, but maybe they'll try to get down the hill fast so they can get some food.
A little bit of luck on Finn Isles' side as well, as he had that tire blowout, but coincidentally Jacob Jewett, his previous run, had that crash. So, wow, no less aggression there for Finn Isles in that left-hand berm.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing McKay go double single at the beginning, and then Finn is also hitting those berms super hard.
I'm like hitting all of his marks, and when he did happen to have a mistake, or a mechanical rather, everything fell into place for him. So strong through the finish line first, Finn Isles, a convincing differential there.
Good. The last.
All right, so take a look. We're flowing right now. Race in action right in the middle of the round of 8 in the men's category and the women's category at the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. SilverStar Dual Slalom. We'll get them back up to the top. We'll re-rack them. We'll do it all over again. Stick with us, race fans.
Discover the best trails in the world. Trailforks. Download the app today. CLIF Crankworx Summer Series Dual Slalom time. Of course, we couldn't do it without GT. You can't have good times without GT. And Whistler Mountain Bike Park, the birthplace of the Crankworx World Tour. Ride now, sleep later. And of course, Pivot Cycles. We'll have some really exciting content coming from Matt Walker and Eddie Masters later on as we proceed through our 3 weeks of broadcast competition at the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. At this moment, we're in the middle of dual slalom action from SilverStar Resort near Vernon, British Columbia, a place that I definitely wouldn't mind being right now. Beautiful bike park. How about you guys? Would you like to be there right now, hanging out with everybody, rubbing elbows, slapping knuckles from 6 feet apart?
I feel like I've never had so much FOMO in my entire life. I don't know about you, Rachel.
Yeah, 100%.
It looks fun out there. Hopefully we'll be able to enjoy what Crankworx brings to all their festivals sooner rather than later. But this is the local mountain, SilverStar Resort, to a lot of the big heavy hitters out there, guys like Bas Van Steenbergen, Casey Brown, Brett Reeder. They call this their home mountain. And so, you know, that says something. Let's take a look at what SilverStar Resort is all about.
Have you ever tried eating kale? It's hard, you chew it forever, and it tastes terrible, and it's slightly crunchy but not in a crispy way, and the leaves fill your mouth and stuff. This is the opposite of that.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from.
That came out of the boat, your tubes. Oh yeah, because they're cold.
We're like, oh, there's, but like Revelstoke, Ontario, Australia.
Oh, I'm getting the shot right now.
So you hear it, they're thinking, oh, that's going to be real close. It's close enough to the point where we have to wait for the official timing.
Leave my bike somewhere because we're going straight to the cidery.
Brett Reeder grabs apples from trees. Don't
Oh, look, there's a bug.
Oh yeah, that's a bad one.
Okay, we get it. We get it. Mountain bike park, stand-up paddleboarding, ice cream, cider. Come on, this is so messed up. It's like completely rubbing our noses in it. Whatever. I'm gonna forget I saw that, and just look forward to the day where I can go visit SilverStar Resort near Vernon, British Columbia. Because now I'm aware of all the fun I am missing. Let's just focus on what we have in the gate right now. It looks like Miranda Miller going up against Leonie Picton. Miranda Miller has an advantage of 1.29. And we were talking about the fact that Miranda Miller is sharing bikes with her teammate Reese Werner. We have some official word on that. It's an interesting story. Let's listen up.
So I brought three bikes. So Reese and I, my teammate, we're sharing a slalom bike. So it's a pretty sick, it's like a modded out old trail bike, 650 downhill cassette, you know, like semi-slick. It's a sick bike. So we'll share that for slalom. I figure like if we have an hour of practice, whatever, we'll split in half. And then I'm riding my trail bike, probably for most air DHs and the enduro. And then I have a downhill bike that I just made into a mullet recently, and it's super fun. So yeah, 3 bikes, slalom bike, a Process 153, and then an operator.
Get my ride or something like that. But it's Pimp Our Ride because they're sharing it.
All right, I was thinking about that. Who got to choose like the setup, you know?
It's like they just threw all their preferences into a hat on pieces of paper, shook them up, and just drew.
Yeah, one person.
She didn't even mention the Barkbusters. That's the best part.
I didn't realize they were about to go. Miranda had her foot down. She's a gate.
She didn't realize either. Luckily, Miranda has a 1.29 to lean on. So Leonie Picton trying to claw her way into position to advance out of this round and into the round of 4, but Miranda Miller making it very difficult on her. Miranda Miller appears to be crossing the line first. She does. So she will scoot right into the round of 4. Interesting to see who she meets up with.
No touching. No touching.
Yeah, I feel like that was just a hype thing that Miranda was talking about. Like, all this stuff about her switching bikes. That's like just her enduro bike, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was just some, I don't know, that was stirring the waters, trying to make it seem like they've got more going on. They don't have anything to do, they're just like stuck at home, dreaming up scenarios.
All I care about is that she's running Barkbusters, and I think that's cool. So next up, at the top of the course, Georgia Astle, who's leading ALN by 0.76, which is a very manageable margin. But Rachel, you were talking about the fact that you think the rider's right side of the course might be a little bit quicker. Does that seem to be proving true here?
I mean, I think so. We're going to find out definitely in this heat right here. And then on the last run, ALN was doubling the rollers and Georgia was not. So we'll see if that has anything to do with speed and how fast you are too down the course.
Smooth. Oh.
Jeez.
Wow, that was
Right up on the edge.
I love the air high fives.
Oh, I was wild finish there. That was close. Yeah, I think this is gonna be real close.
So you hear it, they're thinking, oh, that's going to be real close. It's close enough to the point where we have to wait for the official timing and scoring to give us.
Aylin close to just dying. Good Lord.
How did she hold on there?
Elliot, you spoke earlier about a purpose casing. Was that a PC out there? The front case or
the PC? I feel like she was casing jumps, middle of turns.
Ooh, that's the beauty of slalom. You got to be on your toes and on your game for every single round.
That is true. It's like not minutes.
Take a look at it right now. Georgia was able to get out of that round, so she'll send ALN packing. Georgia Astle will roll into the round of 4. Ooh, look who we got up there. Left side of your screen, that's Casey Brown, points leader in our CLIF Crankworx Summer Series right now after one completed competition. She qualified very well here in dual slalom, worked her way into the round of 4. She'll be going up against Lucy Schick, who has a 1.5 to make up. So Casey Brown just needs to cruise this one, no mistakes, and she'll be comfortably moving into the next round.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Wow, Casey's looking fast, huh?
Sam, what bike is Casey on? Is that the Remedy?
Yeah, she's on a Remedy. It's like the very smallest size, and the frame looks so much different when you get the smallest size. It almost looks like a slow bike or something. It's working perfect on this slalom course. So Casey Brown with a 1.5 to lead on crosses the finish line in run number 2 against Lucy Schick with another convincing lead and very securely grabbing herself a spot in that next round.
Oh man. Good day.
Slide over here a little. Your commentator's going to be on the screen there. Okay. And there's a bit of a delay, like I mentioned in the meeting. Yeah. All sanitized up here.
So we're going to do something kind of cool here. We're going to try something kind of cool. We're going to see if we're able to throw a headset on Casey Brown here and ask her a couple questions. Let's see if the wonders of the World Wide Web will be on our side here. All right. Casey, can you hear us?
I can hear you, Cam. How you doing?
Yeah, Casey, doing well, thanks. Just enjoying watching you ride your bike out here. Now, you did great. You got first place in the Enduro, and now you're ripping through brackets in the dual slalom. This is your home mountain, but does that really mean anything? Do you spend a lot of time on the trails that the Enduro is held on, and this is a brand new slalom course, so is it even an advantage?
I think just spending time in the area maybe is an advantage potentially.
What bike did you choose for the slalom?
Yeah. What was that, Cam?
We're dealing with a little bit of a delay here, so I'm just going to talk slow and let you know when I'm done with the question. A lot of riders choosing to go with their trail bike for the slalom, which is irregular. A lot of times riders would pick the hardtail or the real short travel slow bike, but you went with your small size Remedy. It seems to be working for you. Do you think the trail bike is the #1 choice for this slalom course?
Yeah, I think it's good because you have nice grippy tires and good suspension, and I think a hardtail would be so hard on this course.
Well, cool, Casey. It seems like you're making all the right decisions and playing your strategic cards right in the first 2 events of 12 in the next 3 weeks. So we look forward to watching you tick through all these events, and hopefully you're able to maintain your lead. Get back out there.
Thanks, Cam.
Right in the middle of dual slalom action, we will get back after the break. Do not go away. Welcome back, CLIF Crankworx Summer Series, SilverStar Dual Slalom. There's a look at our brackets as they sit right now. Those names illuminated in white mean they have the advantage moving into run 2 of our round of 8 in the men's field. And this is what we have on our hands right now. Bas van Steenbergen going up against Kirk McDowell. The advantage, 0.24, belonging to Bas van Steenbergen. So Kirk McDowell within striking distance. We haven't seen too many come from behind knockouts yet, but the night is still very young. Let's see what happens.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Both of the riders have a really good gate. Bas just pumps so good. You see all the other riders go over the rhythm section, they kind of go up in like an arc, and Bas is just going super low. The next track what they got to do.
So Bas van Steenbergen clean and smooth through the finish line there. He had the advantage going in, so he will undoubtedly move out of the round of 8 into the round of 4.
Yeah, cool. I came inside to the left-hander before the rhythm of it and just, oh really?
So all this chatter we've been, you know, yapping away about the trail bikes being the best call out here. You got Bas on the short travel slalom specific rig, qualifying first and just making mincemeat out of the competition. There's something to be said for that as well from that course designer builder. But back up to the top, this is going to be Seth Sherlock going up against Remy Gauvin. Seth, if you remember, he just powered through that final straightaway in their first run. He's got the 0.18 over Remy Gauvin.
There's a lot of pressure on Remy right now. He made a mistake last time. He's going to be thinking about that. He needs to push and not make a mistake.
Easier said than done.
Oh! He knows he has to go for it.
This will be interesting here. Seth Sherlock behind, but he's got that 0.18 to play with. Gauvin on fire. Oh, what's it going to be? Gauvin through the line first, but by how much?
Nice one.
Yeah, that was intense. That was sick.
Nice work, man.
Thanks,
man.
man.
That was real
too.
tight.
That was sick.
You got it in the magic. It's not easy.
Bringing new meaning to rubbing elbows while racing.
It'll be close, but I think for sure.
Seth is the coolest kid, I swear. I've known him since he was super tiny. His dad would work with Freeride Entertainment, rigging crazy cable cams and setups like that. He was always just around the set when we were filming bike videos, just cruising. Super curious. And now to see him making it as a pro racer is so cool. But you can tell just hearing him chatter, he's got that same personality. He's such a cool kid.
How big's that bike? It's a large, I don't know.
Why don't I just do a little cheating here? It's going to be Cruz versus Wallace, and if you look at the differential between them, it is minimal, 200ths of a second in favor of Mark Wallace, so this will be a drag race.
Diesel, pay the diesel price. Cheaper than gas. TV ready. You guys good? Yep.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders.
So easy math on this one. Whoever crosses the line first, there's a good chance that's going to be the rider who moves into the round of 4. This is what dual slalom's all about. Oh!
I heard it's like
Come on,
Lucas.
Look at that.
I heard some gears skipping around.
No, that was my foot.
Oh, my foot. That's getting like.
That was scary.
Yeah. Good work.
Lucas Cruz making it happen. They're knocking out the big dog, Mark Wallace. Okay, watching that last matchup, especially from the drone view, it seriously looks like ski moguls. Those corners are so tight, and it's one after another, after another, after another, boom, 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 boom. The sound of those slalom gates hitting the ground. This is such a high action course. All right, who's Finn Isles going to be squaring up against? It's going to be McKay Vesna. Of course, we saw him in their first run. 1.12, a significant advantage to say the least in favor of Finn Isles. So McKay Vesna with some work to do.
McKay, come on, boy.
Tell me about McKay, Elliot. This is the guy you know well.
I do. He's like the happiest guy, nicest guy ever. Insanely fit. Rides around with pro roadies all the time. Super skilled.
He'll be even happier if he's able to knock out Finn Isles. That's the lead, but he needs 1.12. Oh! McKay Vesna threw the line first, but
You're right
that
about
was
that
not
last corner.
1.12. Let's listen in.
Tight one.
So Finn Isles will advance out of this matchup, move into the round of 4, one step closer to some more points. And those points are valuable for the riders, but also for those of you who want to take part in our fantasy competition. If that sounds like it's right up your alley, go to fantasy.crankworx.com, the same way we do it for the World Tour. Click on the current event, build your team, make sure you don't blow your budget. Obviously, the riders who are statistically more likely to do well are going to cost a little bit more money, so play your cards right. And basically, the goal is to beat Elliot Jackson in this, because this is right in your wheelhouse, Elliot.
Man, I'm going for it. I've been studying up for the last 6 months, getting ready for this moment. So, yeah, you're probably not going to beat me, but good luck.
So, of course, big prizes for the riders, but also big prizes out there for those of you taking part in our fantasy competition. So go place your team, and best of luck to you. All right, well, we're gonna play that little trick that we had up our sleeves earlier. Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna make it a simple question because we've got this delay and it's a little challenging. But Finn, you came out swinging. Everybody would have said, oh, well, Finn's gonna do well in the downhills, but how will he do in the enduro? You won the enduro. Do you feel like everybody is kind of barking up the wrong tree thinking that you don't have what it takes in enduro? Do you feel like that's going to be one of your strong suits actually in this 3-week event?
I wouldn't say people are barking up the wrong tree, but I think that maybe people don't expect me to do as well in enduro as I do because maybe my fitness isn't as good as the enduro guys. But I think it's going to be one of my strongest events, and I'm just going to try and keep the confidence rolling from this week.
Well, rumor had it that they were still barking up another tree too. People were criticizing your bike choice for enduro, and obviously you silenced them. Tell us about how you chose to ride the bike you did for enduro.
Yeah, I saw a lot of pink bike comments about that, but the stump jumper is what I've been riding a lot lately, so I decided to go with that, and I'm confident on it. I feel strong, and yeah, I got the result I wanted out of it, so I think it's the bike I'm going to stick with for the rest of the series.
Perfect. Well, keep the momentum going, Finn. You've got 100 points to your name from enduro, and best of luck to add to that point count here in slalom. You're doing all the right things, so we're excited to see you back out on course. Get out there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cam.
All right, there we have it. Straight from the horse's mouth there, Finn Isles, as we focus our attention back over to the women's category. Let's see what we have right now. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. We're into the semifinals. Closer and closer to awarding some of those valuable points. Astle versus Brown, Verbeek versus Miller. Now, interesting, finally we're going to get to see Via Verbeek squaring up against an actual competitor. She qualified first, so she had the bye in the first round. Now, Rachel, what is it like qualifying first? There's a lot of pressure on you, and it's got to be weird. Everybody's warmed up and racing, and you did bye, so this will be Via's first time going up against a competitor. How is that mentally?
I think for Via, she's always so mentally prepared. She loves qualifying first. It makes her feel that she is really ready for that race. And I know also in her bye, she doesn't go slow. She likes to hit the course like she's racing so that she feels what the course is like, she feels what the corners are like, and how it's going.
That's a good veteran strategy right there. That's a real great point, is treating those bye rounds as a practice run. But now, practice is over. It's time to take to the course here. Miranda Miller versus Via Verbeek.
I was texting with Miranda in between her run, and she was talking about her gate starts, and said that she needed to work on them. She said that she knows.
Jeez, look at this, Elliot.
It's actually pretty impressive to have Via really like being aggressive on that first run. It's a little bit risky, like we were talking about her having the bye, not having a ton of track time like the other women, and to know how the track gets developed. So those bottom turns, you see a lot of it in drifting out into the pads across the finish line. So it's definitely something she's going to take into account going into the finals.
For sure. I mean, she's really backing up that first place qualifier position there. And there you go, flying the colors. The reigning queen of Crankworx from the 2019 season. Of course, she added some points for the 2020 tally in Rotorua. Unfortunately, that's going to be the last event of the World Tour, but luckily we're here and she has an opportunity to try to sweep another overall for 2 years in a row. But right now, the overall belongs to that woman on the left right there, Casey Brown.
Ready? Yeah. Ready. Go. Yeah.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Oh, Casey with the snap, huh?
Yeah. Man, that after the three rollers, that first berm was so fun. Just like kind of coming off, floating into the berm. Casey in the double. Might be a little bit nerve-wracking to have the drone behind you the whole time.
I was thinking the same thing. Here we go, Casey Brown through the finish line first.
We forgot that. Italiano. Yeah, the bottom. The bottom's getting fun now, eh? Oh, that was pretty. Holy
So you're having fun?
Couple more. Couple more of those.
So
All
Casey
these
Brown
riders just
through the
ride
line
together.
I don't
Yeah,
have
go
the
for it,
official.
Cam.
It looks like 0.1, 0.2, somewhere in that neighborhood of an advantage there for Casey Brown. All right, men's semifinal number 1 here. Things are heating up. Looks like Remy Gauvin on the left side of your screen going up against Bas van Steenbergen. Bas has been unstoppable up to this point. And if you've made it to this point, you've also been unstoppable. So this is where things really start to get interesting in this form of competition.
I feel like Remy's probably gotten all his kind of mistakes and keeps things out.
Oh my goodness.
Bas is just a machine.
It's like, yeah, he designed it, he built it, now he's just obliterating it.
I heard you a couple times. I'm like, what's happening?
I like fully inside of the first right into the double left.
Oh yeah.
And then I was just weird in the rhythm, and then
I got fucking close to missing a flag at the top too.
I rode over one.
Oh, that sucks.
Nice work, dude.
So, okay, Lucas Cruz, Finn Isles in the gate here. So it'll be their second time down.
Look how concentrated Finn is right now. He is really ready to give it all he's got.
Okay, riders, random start.
I was just thinking that he's one of those people that just knows how to turn it on, like a real racer. Finn's the dude that's blowing up the track every single turn.
Wow. Finn Isles just obliterating right there.
Jesus.
0.69 it looks like. So Finn Isles setting the pace right there with a 0.69 over Lucas Cruz. And what do you make of the aggression out of this guy? I mean, he blew up his back tire in that left-hand berm and did not slow down. It's like maybe he just added a little bit more PSI, because he definitely didn't reel back the aggression meter at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
no, I think Finn only has one speed, right?
You know, I've never seen Finn really race dual slalom, so it's like making me really excited to see him do it more often on some of the other races. Well, he's got 2 more coming up, but even after this summer series is over, it'll be exciting to see him continue his slalom career, I hope.
I agree. Sure. I hope this is like a full-on gateway drug to get some of these, you know, discipline specialists to just kind of blossom outside their comfort zone. It would be great to see somebody like a Finn Isles, once we're able to kickstart back up into the Crankworx World Tour, making a run at King. And this could just be the springboard he needs to go, all right, I got what it takes in all these disciplines, you know, and maybe get him in a speed and style or something. How insane would that be?
Oh my gosh, he could be like Mitch, you know, just do everything and win everything.
Right,
Why
yeah.
not?
I would love to see Finn do a backflip.
I bet you he could do it. I remember him as like a 12-year-old on the trampoline bike at summer gravity camps. And then one of his videos on YouTube, he was learning flips into the foam pit. So I don't know. This might just be the tip of the iceberg here.
Okay.
All right, so let's take a look at our women's bracket right now. I will remind you that those names that are lit up in white, that means that they have the advantage. But of course, we're going into run number 1 here of the round of 4. So all these competitors looking to turn their names white here. Of course, the reigning queen of Crankworx wants to get out strong. She has the advantage actually out of run number 1, doesn't she?
Yes, I think definitely has the advantage, but who knows what can happen in that second run.
There we go.
Yeah,
that is where we are right now. That is where we are.
I've been loving seeing Vaya's progress. She's been documenting all of her kind of slalom, gate start, all that stuff on her Instagram. So He's here crushing it now, but I mean, like the gate start's so good, but it's all from hard work, which has been really cool to see. I'm glad she did that. Miranda, though.
So
I know
Via
one thing,
with a
Gaia,
huge-
well, she really worked on her flat corners this off-season. We talked about it in Rotorua, and it definitely shows in her racing right now.
I'm going to be in trouble when there's no rhythm section.
What does she mean by that, Elliot?
Well, Miranda was catching her on the flat turns. I think Miranda's not doubling through. She's losing a little bit of time there.
But semifinal number 2 right now looks like this. Casey Brown with a decent sized advantage, about a quarter of a second over Georgia Astol. With Georgia within striking distance in that rider's right lane. Anything can happen. It is dual slalom after all.
Yeah, that's something you have to remember. I've had races where somebody turns ahead and then makes a mistake or crashes, or you saw Finn roll his tire off, so you can't ever give up. I mean, surely you can do a 30-second run, you just have to keep that in mind.
Oh, here we go. Oh. All right, looks like Casey Brown threw the line by just a couple inches there. She had the advantage, so she's safe.
I added the Tabasco at the end there. Yeah, you didn't you? Yeah, I was trying to pedal and then the old.
All right, so Casey Brown sailing through that bracket. And we've got an update right here. It sounds like Remy Gauvin in the first run against Bas van Steenbergen actually ran over a gate. You heard him in the finish line corral kind of speculating. I think I ran over a gate, so that gives him the maximum differential to try to claw his way back from under. That's a 1.5 differential there, so that is going to make going up against Bas van Steenbergen even harder, as if you need to make that any more complicated.
Yeah, and similar to the last round, you still have to push because, Bas can still make a mistake, still get out of control. I mean, he's been on fire lately. I feel like that's one of the things that you have here at the top level. Once you get into semis, not only do you have to not make a mistake, but you have to be super fast. See Bas kind of easing up there at the end.
Yeah, buddy.
Safe, energy.
Riding good, man.
Thanks, dude. It's not something I'm comfy with, that's
So,
for sure.
Bas van Steenbergen securing himself a spot into the gold medal matchup there. Now, no big surprises here. Of course, we talked at great lengths about the fact that he designed this course, helped build this course, but also a couple second places in Crankworx World Tour Dual Slalom. So, one thing's for sure, he's looking to get on the top step of that podium here today. If it's going to happen any day, it's going to be today. He's looking absolutely flawless, but we talked about it at the top of the show, the potential collision course between your #1 qualifier, Bas van Steenbergen, and your #2 qualifier, Finn Isles, who we have loaded up into the gate right now. And that's always the best when you see that happen. The two fastest qualifiers squaring off face to face in the final round when the course has changed so much and everybody's a little bit more tired. So let's see what happens. Finn Isles has a 0.69 advantage over Lucas Cruz right now. If he can skate out of this round, we'll see that 1 and 2 qualifier face off in the finals.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Let's see if Finn blows up this inside turn.
Oh!
Lucas is riding great. Like those, he just those flat turns at the bottom, one of the best runs of the day for sure.
But is he riding 0.69 great? What's it gonna be? Oh wow, that was close. Looks like it was 0.44, so not enough. Lucas Cruz into the bronze medal matchup, and Finn Isles will go up against Bass Van Steenbergen in the finals. Right on. So man, that's what dreams are made of when it comes to watching dual slalom competition out here. For the men, we're going to have Finn Isles and Bass Van Steenbergen going up against each other. Both of them with their eyes on the prize for that 100 points. Neither of them want to settle for that 85. Now Casey Brown going up against, I believe, Via Verbeek, right, into the gold medal matchup for the women. So there we go. The second discipline of competition here at the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series is all about SilverStar Dual Slalom, and it's time to give away some hardware after the break. Don't leave us. What else are you gonna watch?
Discover the best trails in the world. Trailforks. Download the app today. All right, things are heating up. These are the moments we've all been waiting for all day. Of course, just the fact of racing action is exciting, but now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of that action. Time to give away some hardware, our bronze medal matchups now. Bronze and gold medal matchups in the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. We're hanging out at SilverStar Resort, and it's all about dual slalom right now. And then there were 4 in each category here. We've boiled it down. Will it be Bass Van Steenbergen or Finn Isles for the men? And for the women, who will take the gold? Will it be Casey Brown backing it up 2 events in a row? Or will it be Via Verbeek? Right now, it's all about the bronze medal matchup. Let's take a look at who we have loading up in the gate after a long day of racing, Elliot.
It's so true. Georgia coming from Whistler and Miranda and Squamish. Georgia, a lot of experience riding stuff like A-Line, Ninja Cougars, that stuff right in her backyard. So I know she feels comfortable on this stuff.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
So clean slate here for this bronze medal matchup. We're gonna find out who has the advantage.
Rope right there.
Woo.
This is kind of the difference maker in these flat turns. Miranda got some pedals in, actually.
Wow.
Really good pedals at the end.
I hit near a little slip. You were pretty close to that. Yeah. That was good because I haven't been against someone that was also rolling.
Close is right. If only I could tell her right now. 0.22 in favor of Georgia. So that's the way it's going to go here when we get them back up to the top. One more time down the course for Georgia Assel, Miranda Miller to determine who gets those valuable third place points. 70 points. If Georgia Assel is able to hold on to that 0.22, or 70 points for Miranda Miller if she's able to upset that. But now, bronze medal matchup for the men. It's like we got Remy hanging out, waiting to be joined in that start gate. The start gate that Elliot, he's just, he's learning how to be comfortable. He's becoming acquainted with that start gate this week, isn't he?
Yeah, that's so true. I swear it doesn't take much. I think we've all, because I felt the same. Crankworx was my first time doing gate starts. I never raced BMX or even went to the BMX track really. So slalom was my first gate start, and it comes relatively quick. I think we all have an idea of what it looks like to do it. And so I was just like, okay, this is what Bass and this is what Kyle looks like going off the gate, and this is what I'm gonna do.
Speaking of Kyle, question for you, Rachel. You guys have a slalom course in your backyard, but where do you guys go for gate start practices? Do you have a gate there on Straight Acres?
No, we actually talked about buying one, but we're pretty lucky. We have the Olympic Training Center 30 minutes away in Chula Vista, and they have an amazing gate there, and our buddy Tyler Brown picks it up, and we go down there every Tuesday in the off season, and yeah, it's really, really fun. But Elliot, my first gate I ever did was at Crankworx at Wells during a dual slalom, so
Yeah.
I remember being so embarrassed. But
I actually had there was at Whistler one year, there was a diving board, kind of a wooden
that was
plank.
the year. My first
Oh my God.
year.
So I was on fire. I was like riding like so good, time of my life. And then I hit the gate coming out, and I rode off the side. Like I was in round of 8 or something like that, and I hit the gate and rode off the side of the plank. And I remember Mike Day was sitting there, and he just had this look of disappointment on his face. I was super sad about it.
of all guys to see you, it'd be like Mike Day would be the
Right.
least one you'd want to see. He's like the gate champion.
It was
It's so funny,
it was
isn't
actually
it? The riders who grew up racing BMX, that's just, they eat that for breakfast, or like a gate start, whatever. That's like the most basic. It's like holding a pencil for anybody who's past second grade, you know. But for a mountain biker, especially from a downhill background, you're like, what is this thing?
Or a cross-country background, which might even be worse, which is what I come from.
All right. It looks like we're getting closer to dropping that ridiculous contraption known as a start gate. Remy Gauvin been just hanging out, chilling in that thing. Who's he squaring up against there, Elliot?
So this is going to be Lucas, and looks like I thought something might have been broken, but I think he's just trying to get in the right gear. Everyone has a gear that they like to start in. I think it's usually 4th or 5th for most people. Unless you're on a trail bike, and then it's like 15th.
There's so much stuff that goes into it too. What gear to be in, like what foot you want to have forward, and then like how cocked back you want to have your crank for your first push. There's so much that goes into it.
So I don't think Lucas is shifting because he just said he didn't have a battery in there.
What is the world coming to?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Technology.
I could be wrong, but I overheard that just now.
Oh! Go Dan! Going for a scenic cruise course side, leaving the door wide open for Lucas Cruz to grab a healthy advantage.
So that actually,
Yeah, I just like
that happens
hit the berm,
because
like, fell straight into the grass.
we call it like reaching. So if you lean into a turn and you're not, you lean in and your tires
like I
are
lost
a couple of inches or
so
half a
much
foot to the inside of whatever berm or turn you're trying to turn on, you'll lose traction and get off balance and oversteer like he did. So that just comes from that berm being super blown out. And the rider's not really being able to tell where it actually is going to support them at.
I just want to see like a greatest hits highlight reel of all the rowdiest passes through that berm from the day of competition, because that thing has been a main character in the race today. Yes, look at this, Via Verbeek going up against Casey Brown. Casey Brown, she can do everything. I mean, so can Via. She's the queen of Crankworx, but Casey Brown, she kind of dabbles in all kinds of different realms. Free ride, racing, everything you could shake a stick at. We had a chance to catch up with Casey and pick her brain a little bit. Take a listen.
I think I'm gonna be taking it pretty easy. I tore my meniscus 10 days ago, so I'm gonna be just chilling, I think, a bit, and kind of, just riding for fun and being part of the crew, and just taking it all in and easing my way back into the racing thing.
Yeah, Casey, you're not fooling anybody. I call major BS. Miss 100 points to your name for winning the Enduro, qualifying first, or qualifying respectable in slalom, and now into the gold medal matchup. Yeah, is that what you call taking it easy?
I think though too, there's it's one of those things where if you are hurt or sick or something like that, you have less pressure on you. I feel like, Rachel, I'm sure you know that too. Like some of your best races are when you're hurt or sick.
Yes, 100%. Less pressure, better for me. Man, this is tight racing
Casey
right now.
as well. What do we got here, Elliot? Real tight matchup. Jeez.
Yeah, that is. They're neck and neck. I feel like these two are used to racing each other. We're seeing a lot of matchups where the riders might not necessarily be used to racing against one another in slalom, like Bass and Finn. Those matchups, like the classic matchup of Slavic and Bass and stuff like that, you kind of know where they're going to push, what they're going to do. And this is definitely one of those matchups, like the classic Crankworx matchup, Casey and Via. So.
Hey, Elliot, are you curious what the advantage was? I know. Want me to tell you?
I don't even want to know. No, I know. I want to know.
Well, maybe the race fans at home want to know. This is going to be a really tight gold medal matchup when we get them back to the top of the course. Only 0.3 separating them. So the stage is set for a good final race for the women. And let's take a look at the gold medal matchup for the men right now. The top two qualifiers, Finn Isles on the left side of your screen, Bass Van Steenbergen on the right. I can't wait to see how this goes.
Yeah, this is old Big Bass in the gate there. Let's see how he goes.
So.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Oh, here comes that berm.
Bass at that inside is really good.
Oh, what are you thinking about that short travel bike right now, carrying speed through those rollers?
Yes, Seriously, whoa! It's just...
Oh, look at that!
At the very end!
Oh, wow! So real similar story here as we had in our gold medal matchup for our women's category. This is what it looks like. Finn Isles through the line first by .24. All right, Elliot. See, look at this. Look at this. The chatter has ceased now. This is where the points are on the line. Finn has 100 points. Baz has 60 points from the enduro race, and now one of them's going to get 85. One of them's going to get another 100, and it all comes down to the next time they drop into this course. So not only are you looking at people who are leading the charge today, but in the overall, Bass and Finn will be 1 and 2 at the end of today's racing. But back into bronze medal matchup for the women right now. So Rachel, let's take a look at what we have.
Yes, Cam.
Yes, Cam. So Miranda on the left side of your screen. Let's see, I'm waiting for my computer to boot back up here so I can find out what that differential was.
Okay, I'm back.
I am very excited to see Miranda progress in this sport and see her nail those gates in the next dual slalom race, because I think that's going to make a huge difference for her.
So who's going to get third place points here? Will it be Georgia Assel? Will it be Miranda Miller?
Ooh, tight racing. Both of these girls are so good at cornering. I love the commentary, the screaming going on. It's very entertaining. And Miranda crosses the line in first.
I did a full little nosy.
Look at
Who
that.
had
Miranda
the
Miller.
advantage going into that round?
So Miranda Miller taking away those 70 points in third place here in the SilverStar Dual Slalom. Miranda finished third in the Enduro also, so look at that. A pair of third places, 140 points for her so far after 2 events here at SilverStar. Here we go, back in action to the top of the course. Time for the bronze medal matchup for the men. Let's figure out who's grabbing those 70 points. Lucas Cruz is leading the charge right now after run number 1. But if you remember, Remy Gauvin going off course, so he's obviously looking to upset that 1.5 that he has, but he needs a perfect run.
He does. He's been on the edge all day, so I feel like if he can pull it together for this last run, really pushing for it.
Woo!
In the turn. Both of them going through this berm so fast. And Lucas in these flat turns has just been like on fire all day.
Okay, Lucas.
I can't touch you.
Oh, man. The social distancing even while crashing. So Lucas Cruz really making a run at things here. I have a feeling, I mean, we talk about some of the young riders like Seth Sherlock and Jacob Jewett being the dark horses, underdogs. Unfortunately, we saw Jacob Jewett go down with an injury earlier on in the day of competition. But I don't know, keep your eyes peeled for Lucas Cruz to come out of nowhere here if he keeps this up.
That was a super sick.
Yeah, he had a really good year last year at the World Cups. I think junior competition now is just, there's so many fast juniors. Most of the factory teams have juniors on them. So he was on that SRAM, the SRAM team last year and got a podium. So good to see him at Crankworx.
And 70 points for that podium here in dual slalom. But time
to crown a winner up here with the women's category. Of course, Via Verbeek is a name you hear us yapping about all the time on the Crankworx World Tour. And there's a good reason for that. Take a look at what her season looked like last year and how she was able to tally up enough points to grab that Queen of Crankworx title. So all the different events, really similar to what we're seeing here at the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. She was earning points in dual slalom, in air downhill, in enduro. So she was definitely focusing her sights on defending that crown in the 2020 season, but now shifting focus to a very similar goal here, trying to take the overall win in the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. She started out strong with 85 points and a second place in the enduro, and second only to Casey Brown in the enduro. So history has a tendency to repeat itself, especially when we're talking about the two fastest competitors in the field here, who are now going to finish 1 and 2 respectively again for the second day in a row. Casey Brown going up against Via Verbeek for the glory. Very small differential, 0.3 between these two. Here we go.
Both of them hitting that first section perfect. They're neck and neck, pretty much tied in the middle of the track.
Oh man!
Via hits that little hole. You see both of them trying to get a little bit of pedals in.
Whoa! What's it gonna be? It's so close. Bear in mind, it was a 0.3. Oh my! Via Verbeek needed to beat a 0.3. She got a 0.37.
Oh wow!
That is as close as it gets. Only 0.07 of a second separating 85 points from 100 points here. Yeah, this is going to be a good 3 weeks.
It's just great racing.
Had like this 2 gates that were kind of like an inside.
It's just such good racing. I feel like both of them knowing that they were on the edge, both of them knowing that they're probably going to be competing against each other all of these 3 weeks, all 12 events. It's just awesome.
Wow, I had to look twice at my laptop here, looking at how close that matchup was. She needed to be 0.3. She did a 0.37, made it happen. The difference between 100 points and 85 points coming down to 0.07 of a second. And for 2 events in a row here, 2 disciplines in a row, Casey Brown and Via Verbeek finishing 1 and 2 respectively. We're working on getting that headset on Via Verbeek right now so we can have a little chat with our winner. Via, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Hi, Via. So the plot is thickening out here. After just 2 disciplines, it's becoming obvious that right now you and Casey are trading back and forth. Now, I know you're very much a strategist. You're the reigning queen of Crankworx. As you are eyeing up your competition for these 3 weeks of racing, did you look at Casey Brown and say, all right, that's one I'm going to keep my eye on?
I guess I didn't actually think that through, but like, I don't know, it's such a different crowd and different girls were racing, and like with enduro being in, so didn't actually think through who was going to be on top of those kinds of 4 disciplines, but I could see how me and Casey are ranking up together. We kind of have a good similar style of riding, so that makes sense. But I'm stoked to be battling with her. There's definitely no drama going on. I love that, and she rode so good yesterday. I was stoked for her.
Very cool. And this is the home mountain for both of you here at SilverStar Resort. And I just wanted to ask you, since you're so close to this process of Bass designing and building the course, how did you like the course? There's no wrong answer here. I'm sure Bass will let you slide if you didn't like it, but it sure worked out well for you. Did you like it?
Thank you. I really liked it. I definitely love that he was able to, volunteer, go out there, put hours on it, make it a proper slalom course. This is stuff we want to see at Crankworx. This is what's exciting to watch. Honestly, I may have died this morning in practice trying to go through that rhythm section. I tried a totally different combo, which the rollers are very tight, so definitely some feedback to put out back to the trail crew and boss. But I'm glad I did not die, and I was able to ride. Honestly, I did not think I was going to ride, so this is amazing. But yeah, loved it. I want more of that kind of stuff for slalom, for sure.
Great to hear. You made mincemeat out of that course. You added 100 points to your tally. Congratulations. We can't wait to see you in the next race. Let's go watch the men's final.
Thank you. See you guys.
So I have a feeling I know who Via Verbeek is going to be rooting for here in this final matchup between Finn Isles and boyfriend of Via Verbeek there, Bas van Steenbergen.
Yeah, that's, let's talk about like a power couple. I mean, both of them at the top of the Crankworx result sheet in every single event.
So Rachel, what's it like going through a race weekend, racing for yourself and your significant other?
It's pretty fun. I actually really enjoy watching Kyle compete,
So Vi is hopefully enjoying watching this matchup right now because look at Bas van Steenbergen with early lead.
Oh, I wonder if he went over that gate.
Look at that. Bas van Steenbergen.
That was insane. He had that. He took an inside line.
So Bas needed to make up 0.24. This is what dual slalom's all about. Waiting for the numbers to be crunched. Whoa! Look at this. Bas van Steenbergen has done it. Bas van Steenbergen grabbing the win and 100 valuable points.
Wow.
Nice work, Finn.
Man,
So
what a day. That's, he definitely does not look happy. But that's part of it. And I think, you know, kind of what we were talking about, if just having 12 events, you know, there's only quote unquote 15 points riding on this rather than you know, thousands of dollars.
So check it out, Elliot and Rachel. I just did a little quick math, and I'm no mathematician, so of course this could be wrong, but it looks to me like Bas now has 160 points in the overall. Finn has 185, so despite not getting the win here today, Finn Isles is still able to maintain that lead by a healthy 25 points as the pressure and the anticipation builds for the next couple events here at SilverStar. Bas van Steenbergen has a headset on. Bas, you designed the course, you built the course, you took the win. Does it get any better than this?
Yeah, I'm so stoked. To be honest, I was kind of struggling with the track. I should have made it a little bit easier, but no, I'm super happy, and it's a good way to end the long day out here.
Yeah, dual slalom is always such a long day. Now, in the process of designing this course, were you trying to create something that was basically a rhythm section and super challenging to just be non-stop feature to feature, or did you just end up that way?
I was really trying to make it so that there's a little bit of everything. Like, I always like it when it's mixed in a little bit more, so I definitely want it to be technical the whole way through, like technical turns, technical rhythm sections, and then some raw flat turns at the bottom. And yeah, I'm super stoked with how it turned out.
Well, you did it, Bas. You made a course with absolutely no room for error, and you were able to make it through the long day, making, I don't know, to my eyes, no mistakes. So congratulations, and what does your night look like tonight in preparation for tomorrow's racing?
I think mainly just thinking about the next Slope Durocross event, to be very honest. That's pretty much all that's on my mind these days. So, but I'll go to bed after that. I'll just visualize for about half an hour and then go to bed probably. Yeah.
Because realistically, that's all that really matters, right? Slope Durocross.
I know. I've been watching all the new track videos you've been putting out. Been studying. So once the borders open up, I'm coming for you, Cam.
Speaking of borders, my dart board still has your face on it, so I can't wait until you're able to cross that border, come down and ride with me, and we can square up against each other again. Good job today, Bass Van Steenbergen. I can't wait to see you in the downhill.
Thank you very much, Cam.
All right, go celebrate. Big congratulations out there for the couple. Are you kidding me? Via Verbeek and Bass Van Steenbergen both taking the win out there. That's got to feel great. Thanks, you guys, for joining me. What are your final thoughts from the racing today? It was pretty action-packed, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm so jealous. I want to be out there, but so motivated to get back out there and ride my slalom course as much as I can and keep training, because one day the borders are going to open, or we're going to have a race here or something.
Exactly. How about you, Elliot? You jonesing to get on the bike?
I swear, it just seeing like I don't even know where to start. I'm like seeing all the trails, seeing all my friends, seeing slalom, just everything about Crankworx. I think we all kind of have that image of Crankworx as being fun, and it's super cool to see that carrying on to these times as well.
I hear you. It's great for the riders. It's great for us as fans. It's also great for all the race fans out there joining us on Pink Bike watching this. Hopefully it motivates everybody to get out on their bike. I know I'm watching the racing on my screen, or right past it is all my bikes hanging on the wall, so I can't wait to throw a leg over those things. And I can't wait to welcome you all back event kicking off tomorrow. Of course, that's going to be the downhill, the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. This is the first taste we've had of it. We're going to get to keep nibbling on this amazing competition format for the next 3 weeks. Thanks for joining us at the SilverStar Dual Slalom. We'll see you tomorrow for some more racing action.